But there was apparently a situation between you and Birdman over that whole Cash Money Wendy Day situation.
One of my artist friends bumped into Birdman and put a gun to his head and made him call and apologize to me, which he did. Birdman called me up and said, "Oh, your friend just pulled me out of Hot 97 and I'm here on the street on my knees and I want to apologize to you."
Then when I walked in, he was in the booth with no shirt on and a Sinbad sword. Yeah, he was with a big sword with no shirt on in the booth when I first got.
There's no question that hip-hop has produced many legendary MCs, but very few brought the kind of real-world threat that James Campbell carried. He had two personas, Freddie Fox, the sharp and precise lyricist, and Bumpy Knuckles, the enforcer figure. Together, those sides made him a force nobody wanted to challenge. Freddie Fox was solid, respected, and someone who had lived through real experiences. He wasn't pretending. From allegedly pressing a gun to Birdman's head, to putting one in Benzino's mouth, to calling out the industry as a whole, he didn't hold back.
Freddie Fox is a G, did time, Gangsta.
No, he's a real one.
A real one,
yeah.
Let's go through it. Freddie Fox began his path on Long Island, New York, long before his name circulated in hip-hop. He entered the culture during junior high, when writing rhymes suddenly clicked for him. Long Island during that time wasn't the toughest place, but it wasn't easy either. Fox was a bright student who focused on school, but like most young boys, he still got into typical trouble here and there. What pushed him toward becoming the MC he eventually became wasn't only the environment, it was his connection to language. English was his favorite class. He appreciated the rhythm of words, how sentences were built, and how language could form full images when used the right way. As a kid, he would even read books backwards just to test his thinking, to see whether he could still understand the structure. That's how early he was training himself. His guiding idea became simple. If he could make his words create a clear picture, people would always understand him. That mindset shaped everything he later achieved in hip-hop. During the mid-1980s, the culture was still forming. Nothing was fully established yet. Styles were being shaped, crews were finding their sound, and everyone was trying to stand out. But even in that early phase, certain choices quietly influenced the direction of the culture. For Freddie Fox, one small decision changed hip-hop history. Around 1986, Eric B was searching for the best MC on Long Island. Everyone kept pointing him toward Freddie Fox. Fox had a tape moving around and people were impressed. Eric B heard it, liked it, and wanted to meet him. He had a plan and a vision for a strong partnership. For Fox, this should have been a major moment, but the meeting never took place. Eric B said, "Take me to the MCs out here who are really good. I want to meet the ones who are serious because I've got a project coming." But here's where classic Freddie Fox came in. Loyalty before opportunity. Eric B wanted Fox alone. Fox didn't like that idea. He didn't want to move forward without the crew he grew up with, the same friends who helped him start, the same group he and his brother were connected to. Fox wasn't willing to leave them behind just to chase a deal.
Who's we? I was like, me and the other two cats that I rock with. Eric was like, well, I just need one of y'all. So I didn't cancel the meeting, but I didn't show up. I didn't want to bounce on my guys like that. So I kind of just didn't show up. You know what I mean? And then I think he met Rakim after that.
So he didn't go to the meeting. Because of that one choice, Eric B turned to the next name recommended to him, a young MC called Rakim. And that decision formed one of hip-hop's most iconic duos, Eric B and Rakim. All because Freddie Fox stayed home. From that point forward, the tension between Fox and Rakim lingered for years, and it didn't start in the music business. They already had history on Long Island, coming from different groups that were basically rivals. So when Rakim later mentioned Fox in an interview, allegedly saying he wasn't ferocious, the comment struck a nerve. To Fox, it was disrespectful, and it fed into a stereotype he always disliked, the idea that Long Island artists were soft. He challenged that assumption often, pointing out that having a front yard didn't mean you weren't exposed to the same street problems as anyone else in the city. Fox also had his own view of Rakim's legacy. He never felt Rakim automatically ranked above MCs like Big Daddy Kane, LL Cool J, or KRS-One. To him, status didn't come from myth. It came from what you could do on stage, on records, and in real life. Fox valued raw skill, honesty, and lived experience. He didn't place anyone above others, especially someone from his own community. So when he said, "I would eat Rakim alive on any record or any stage," it wasn't random talk. It was consistent with who Freddie Fox was. As he moved further into the early 1990s, public conversation about him started shifting. At first, people focused on his lyricism, delivery, and technical ability. But later, something else became just as central: his reputation. Fox never claimed to be a drug dealer. He was very clear about that. But he became known for something equally serious. He handled situations, stood his ground, and made sure people paid what they owed. To many, that made him just as authentic as anyone who rapped about hustling. Fox treated hip-hop like a full-contact craft. He believed you had to show up with strength, presence, and respect for the art. His energy was bold, intense, and sometimes intimidating. That same energy was present in his unreleased 1994 album, Crazy Like a Fox. Even though it never officially came out at the time, it was filled with some of his most raw and detailed work. His lyrics covered hustling, confrontations, violence, and jail, described with accuracy that suggested he understood the reality behind the stories. A large portion of the album was even dedicated to inmates. Fox wasn't chasing radio placement. He wanted to speak to people who often felt ignored, those living with real consequences. He also used the album to criticize what he felt was the false side of the industry: the overly commercial sound, the safe approach, and artists who talked loudly without living anything close to what they rapped about. His verses included warnings, frustration, and straightforward threats. He told listeners, "I'll rip you apart, I'll put knots on you," and more, things many didn't want to hear. This growing reputation led to one of the most talked about moments in his career: the situation involving Benzino. At the time, both he and Benzino were connected to Queen Latifah's flavor unit, so people expected unity. But hip-hop rarely follows simple expectations. The tension reached its peak during a road trip. According to Benzino's own version, he walked into a studio where Fox was working and saw him standing shirtless, holding what he described as a Sinbad-style sword. The atmosphere immediately felt strange. Things escalated inside a tour van, one of those vehicles artists used for travel. What began as a disagreement quickly became more serious. Benzino admitted he pulled out a gun first, describing it as a small revolver, signaling that he was ready for whatever happened next.
We in the van and somehow something happens. And I'm strapped up. I got a little nasty little revolver on me. You know what I'm saying? So Freddie Fox, I'm a little guy. I'm not, you know what I'm saying? Fox is big as you know what I'm saying?
Pulling a gun on Freddie Fox was not a smart move, and Fox reacted instantly. Benzino said Fox pressed his gun directly into his mouth. At that moment, Benzino felt he had no option except to get out of the van. Yet in the strange logic of the streets, that tense moment somehow turned into mutual respect. No one was killed, no one informed on anyone, and no long-term issues remained. Instead, it led straight into one of the wildest studio sessions of their careers. Right after the confrontation, Fox, Benzino, and Tupac Shakur went to Quad Studios to record the track Killer. Benzino recalled Tupac walking into the building, still in his early Digital Underground phase, and delivering a verse that cut straight through the beat. The track even included a chaotic skit with gunfire and drive-by effects, matching the energy they had just experienced. By that time, Fox's reputation was established. As he entered the mid to late 1990s, everyone knew he had the street background to match his lyrics. The Benzino incident alone showed he wasn't someone pretending to be tough. But although those events earned him respect in some areas, they also planted the seeds of something that eventually hurt him far more. What damaged his career the most wasn't conflicts with other rappers or issues with crews. It was what happened when he brought that same fearless and aggressive approach into the world of music executives. the people who controlled contracts, radio access, and the business side of hip-hop. Fox quickly learned that the industry wasn't only about music. It involved politics, money, and power. He believed much of it was, in his words, a swamp filled with greed and dishonesty. It bothered him deeply because he wanted to protect the culture he grew up respecting. So when he took it upon himself to act as a type of gatekeeper, calling out lies, shady dealings, fake behavior, and disrespect, the people in charge decided they didn't want someone like him around. That choice set the course for his future. The first major hit to his career, the one he said hurt him most, involved Steve Stoute, a major industry figure at the time. Stoute wasn't just an executive. He co-founded Violator, helped guide Nas, and played a role in key deals that pushed hip-hop into the mainstream. But to Fox, Stoute represented something else, an industry type who acted friendly, but didn't value the people who were truly rooted in the culture. Fox later detailed the entire situation in one of his songs. The confrontation happened inside a pizza shop. Fox had been hearing things he didn't like. He felt Stoute had been speaking down on him, blocking opportunities, and showing disrespect toward real contributors. When Fox entered the shop, he was ready to address the issue, and it escalated immediately. According to Fox's own version, he rushed Stoute. The situation turned physical fast. He hit him hard in the mouth, knocking him to the ground. Stoute ended up crying and holding a swollen lip. Fox said he stomped him and yelled, "Forget Steve Stoute," in the middle of the shop. He even mocked the idea that Stoute's wealth could shield him from consequences, telling him, "You've got all that money, but you still can't buy courage." Fox later described this as a turning point, one that cost him heavily. He understood instantly that hitting someone like Steve Stoute wasn't the same as fighting another artist. Rappers might argue and move forward. Executives do not forget. From that moment on, Fox was no longer viewed as an artist. He was labeled a risk, someone who couldn't be managed. Because of that, he was blackballed. Even though the streets respected him, the corporate side saw him as a potential disruption to business. His music during this time only reinforced that image. His lyrics openly criticized label executives, unfair contracts, and artists who accepted them. He rapped about labels turning hip-hop into their own personal profit, while artists settled for small returns. He mocked performers he signed weak deals, calling them out for being softer than their image suggested. His writing became sharper, more explicit, and more direct. He used violent metaphors to describe exposing weak artists and calling out executives driven by greed. The second major strike, the one that expanded his reputation even further, involved Birdman. The story starts with Wendy Day, founder of the Rap Coalition. She was known for helping independent artists and labels get fair deals. She helped Cash Money secure their massive $30 million Universal contract. But after the deal was completed, Birdman refused to pay her what she was owed. Wendy said he basically told her to sue him, knowing she didn't have the funds for a long legal fight. Fox stepped in. He confronted Birdman right outside the Hot 97 radio station. According to Wendy Day, Fox allegedly put a gun to Birdman's head. Birdman was pushed down onto his knees on the sidewalk and was told to call Wendy to apologize. Wendy remembered him saying, "Your friend just pulled me outside Hot 97. I'm on my knees in the street, and I need to apologize to you."
One of my artist friends bumped into Birdman and put a gun to his head and made him call and apologize to me, which he did. Birdman called me up and said, "Oh, your friend just pulled me out of Hot 97, and I'm here on the street, on my knees, and I want to apologize to you."
Fox later denied using a gun. He said they spoke calmly, but the message was still clear. The incident solidified his reputation in the industry. Regardless of which version was true, the outcome didn't change. The industry shut him out. Radio stations avoided him, and labels refused to work with him. As Freddie Fox entered the 2000s, he accepted that the industry would never treat him fairly. Instead of trying to fit in, he embraced who he really was. That's when the identity of Bumpy Knuckles became more than just a stage name. The idea was simple. Freddie Fox was the lyricist, the MC, the artist. Bumpy Knuckles was the enforcer, the raw street side that didn't care about industry politics or consequences. In theory, these two sides were separate, giving him space to balance the artist and the fighter. but in reality, they merged into one powerful voice that shaped the rest of his career. The defining moment in this transformation came in 2000 with the release of Industry Shakedown. This was more than an album. It was a direct response to blackballing, shady executives, behind-the-scenes deals, and years of being pushed aside for refusing to act compliant. From start to finish, the album was an outright critique of the industry's hidden practices and the people who benefited from them.
A few years later, you drop Industry Shakedown. And it's like, at that point, I feel like Freddie Fox has had enough. Basically like a everybody album.
Yeah,
Is that fair?
pretty much.
Fox said he wanted his music to be a guide made of words that would feed the mind, something younger artists could genuinely learn from. He hoped they would understand the dangers he had faced so they wouldn't walk blindly into contracts and situations created to drain them completely. He knew the industry was designed to keep most artists financially limited, even the highly skilled ones, and he made it his mission to reveal that reality.
Let that person make you sign a contract that says in perpetuity or exclusive. Read it, make sure you know what you sign. And some dudes be so happy to get a deal, they'll sign anything, you know, and we shouldn't allow them to make those mistakes, but we can't force the information on them. They're gonna do what they want to do. So I'm just thinking that to bridge the gap, it has to be a trade-off.
One of the main pieces of advice he often repeated was encouraging new artists to negotiate what he called a pension tool in their record deals. He wanted them to think ahead, secure their future, and protect themselves from the system that had exhausted so many people before they ever reached their full potential. Fox also emphasized that real success wasn't about appearing wealthy or selling the highest numbers. It was about true financial stability, owning your work, keeping your masters, and managing your earnings. He didn't boast about sales totals. Instead, he took pride in the fact that he could sell less and still profit more because, as he put it, all my diamonds are real. He urged young rappers to stay authentic, telling them to spit your shit and keep it real, instead of falling for the fake tough guy image the industry often pushed onto black artists for marketing. He warned that once you allow the machine to create your image, it begins to control your entire life. His project Industry Shakedown and the releases that followed were filled with verses that protected his street credibility while also teaching listeners how to navigate a corrupt business. His lyrics carried dark and forceful imagery. He rapped about keeping his gun and mic close because those were the only things he trusted. He joked, though not entirely joking, about being willing to raise a hammer to collect money someone owed him. He spoke about violence in the same casual way other rappers talked about jewelry, confidently, routinely, and as part of his everyday environment. Stories about Fox's influence continued to circulate beyond the music. One well-known example involved Kool Keith from the Ultramagnetic MCs. After Fox felt Keith had insulted him in some comments, tension grew when they ended up on the same airplane. Keith reportedly became uneasy, aware of Fox's reputation for handling problems directly. According to the story, Keith apologized right away and said the original remark was unintentional. But behind the confrontations, warnings, and intense lyrics, Fox viewed himself as something greater, an OG, a mentor, a guardian of the culture. He said that one of the biggest honors for him was hearing someone say, "I learned a lot from you." As Fox aged, his mindset became even clearer. He understood that the path he chose would never bring him mainstream stardom. He knew that refusing to change or fit industry expectations meant he wouldn't be celebrated like more label-friendly artists. Yet he accepted that. For him, staying genuine mattered more than chart rankings or award shows. He continued to rap proudly about living the gritty, unpolished lifestyle long after many artists his age had softened their approach or switched directions. His line, "I never lose, I never lost, 'cause I'm the boss," reflected how he viewed himself, undefeated in spirit, firm in his truth, and strong in self-respect.
By the time everything settled, Freddie Fox had become something uncommon in hip-hop, a man who lived everything he rapped, who stayed loyal to his principles no matter the consequences, and who earned his legacy not through radio hits, but through the weight of his reputation.